proudest day and the proudest time in the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all was said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.
Welcome along to Crunching Gears. Let's Talk Rally, episode 5. In this episode, I'm once again joined by Connor Edwards, photographer for various motorsport publications, and Adam Hall from Rally Insight. Lads, once again, you're very welcome along.
Thanks, Kevin.
Cheers, Kevin.
But in this episode, we take a look back at Sweden, so look back at Fivemiletown from last weekend, and we look forward to Mayo Stages Rally this weekend. This whole ethos of this podcast is Paddy Power, and we talked last week about the great excitement for the competitors from this island being over in Sweden there at the weekend, and I think we should be more than happy with the results. Jon Armstrong and Brian Hoy taking the JWRC 1, fabulous, and also joining them on the podium was Paul Crichton and Liam Regan. Just great to see. And then also Aaron Johnston navigating for Crossan and the Yaris, a fantastic fourth overall. Craig Breen and Paul Nagel, probably not the event that they will look with the result they hope for, but some strong stage times. It shows that there's a lot of hope there going forward. Also, Josh McGlynn, doing some exceptional times, and a surface completely alien to. It was, very competitive times in the junior station at WRC2. Unfortunately, a snowbank, got paid to the ultimate result, but a lot of positives will be taken away from it. And once again, Eamon Bowen and MJ, just doing their own thing. They had their issues, but ploughed on and got to the finish. And you have to applaud them for that. Just the way they go about the rally, and they just seem to enjoy it so much. But we'll take a wee bit more of an in-depth look at Sweden here now to start off with. Connor, what was your thoughts on Sweden?
I enjoyed watching Sweden. It was great. Proper full snow rally again. The compact format of the event looked good as well. Great to see Oliver Solberg getting back on the horse again and having a good run on the Friday. They did struggle with a few issues towards the end of the rally. Great run from Rovan Pera. Who, whilst everybody thought was going to be disadvantaged by being first on the road on Friday, a little bit of light rain which froze actually helped him and gave himself a decent bit of grip, and probably impacted the guys coming behind him a bit more than himself. And interestingly, we kind of starting to see a few issues arising around the hybrids. So Monty was fairly clean run for the hybrids and the new units in the Rally 1 cars, but certainly Sweden seemed to be a test of them.
Yeah, I think there was a few issues around the hybrids. Adam, maybe did you study this up a bit more maybe than us mere mortals?
Yeah, well, I think it was Tanak and Evans who were the two who suffered from it. So I guess the way you can describe it is the hybrid unit is like a third party unit that the teams get from Compact Dynamics. So that's supplied to each team in a carbon type box, and they can't touch the internals of that. There's no modification there. But yeah, for Tanak and Evans, I believe they had to stop on Super Rally in the end because there was an issue with the hybrid unit. So there's a green light and a red light system. So obviously when it's not green, there's a risk with the electric power. There's a risk with that. So those guys had to stop, and yeah, it's probably the first time in WRC where a team has had a mechanical failure and it's not actually one of their components to blame. So yeah, definitely when it comes to the media side or the marketing side of branding that, it becomes difficult, doesn't it? That
It is,
you know, Hyundai or Toyota have to say they've you know, lost a result because of a mechanical failure, but it's probably not their responsibility. So no, it seems whatever way the car is impacted on a bump or a high speed bumper impact in Sweden, that it's, yeah, I don't know exactly how it happens, but maybe a vibration or just whatever way it's shocked the structure of that hybrid unit, it's failed in some way. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a concern because like it wasn't a big impact that it triggered this either, so that's something that needs to be
definitely
ironed
when
out, because like Sweden
you
wouldn't be one of the rougher events either,
yeah,
so.
if you're thinking about Portugal, Sardinia, Safari in the future, you know, if this continuously raises its head, fair enough, it's only two crews, but if it's two crews on a few weekends, it's definitely not good. And yeah, I'm sure we're talking about it now, so you can imagine what the manufacturers are doing and the
Absolutely.
buttons they're pressing to try and get this resolved now, whether there's some sort of contingency where the driver gets some time back or they don't necessarily super rally, or whether the mechanical part or electronic component is sourced down, you know, the failure is detected. But yes, it's difficult because you imagine these teams have tested all these components quite intensely before they get here, so I'm sure they're aware of some of these issues. But yeah, first time we've seen it, so definitely one to watch out for through the season.
I think there was a certain amount of frustration for the teams too, because it wasn't quite clear what the incident was for Evans and Tanak, and it seemed to be more around that they could neither get a red or a green light on, but yet the units were functioning and performing. So it was more as a precaution they were retired from the event. And you know, if that's the case, it's quite a harsh penalty that they're suffering. And you could only imagine if this was, you know, one or two rounds left at the end of the championship to go, you know, could determine who's a driver or a manufacturer champion.
Yeah, that's a real concern. But I suppose we have to look at the results of the rally. Rovanperä, like you said there, phenomenal, running first in the road. Nobody, well, I suppose like a lot of people thought not in a million years is they going to win the rally. The wee sure rain or whatever it was on the Thursday evening played to his advantage, but he took full advantage of it, didn't he? It was a masterclass.
Absolutely. And not only that, a 21-year-old, what do you call it, Kalle Rovanperä, whose father won the Swedish Rally 21 years ago, driving for Peugeot. So, yeah.
That's crazy, isn't it? But it was, I have to say, the front end battle was really good for the first half of the rally anyway. There was four guys in there, 4 or 5 maybe, that were really pushing for the win. But just watching Kalle Rovanperä's his driving style on that style of event, that is unbelievable. It's just mesmerizing watching. It's just so flowing. Everyone else is pushing hard, and Evans is the driver style. It catches your eye because he's so focused.
Yes, he's really up over the wheel, isn't he?
It's so pinpoint, and you can definitely. There was a few stages you could see Evans trying to get that extra few tenths, and you could nearly see the extra effort that he was putting in to try and get it. But Rovanperä just so calm, flowing. Single motions and getting the car in the right position and sliding through a corner without having to make any adjustments. It's crazy that they were able to do that, 100-mile-an-hour around a corner, sideways, and flicking the snowbank on the outside consistently. Class. And even seeing Esa-Pekka Lappi and his style like that as well, and he was just such a cool character. And yeah, he seemed to be enjoying his rallying again, which was
Yeah.
brilliant to see.
There's a clip up there just showing one of the nighttime stages there with Esapeti, Lappy, and Fermi, and like the two of them, it's just you may as well be driving down the road at 25 miles an hour. They're just so calm, so relaxed, and it's flat out, it's fantastic to see, isn't it? So
yeah,
and
I
sorry,
was going to say, Lappy looked very, relaxed, considering there would have been a fair bit of pressure on him. Like he hadn't sat in, WRC car since last October, and was basically stepping in as the third team member in the absence of OJ, and so a lot of pressure there.
Yeah, and with Evans' retirement on Sunday morning, he was probably had to back off, to settle for the third place. Like he had to consider the manufacturer's points at that point. There was no point of going hell for leather after Neville and possibly going off or something then either. So
yeah, he's done his reputation no harm. I have to say, I loved his interviews. The ones where you could tell the journalists were looking for him to give a witty or a sharp answer and looking for a bit of charisma out of him, and he just flipped it back. He just laughed at them. He was like, "This is me. This is how I am. Like, do you want me to get overexcited about this? I'm going out and I'm going to go as fast as I can. Like, what more can I say?" That was brilliant. But he had that. He just had the right air about him. There's no arrogance. He was there. You could just tell he was enjoying himself and in his happy place.
Absolutely. And like the resurgence of Hyundai, we kind of wrote them off after Monday, but great to see them back.
Great to see them back. And Neville, it was a really, really solid drive for Neville to come in second place overall. And it was pushing there hard. Managed his tires very well, which give him that advantage on Saturday. But again, Hyundai back, but still with some issues there, as I say, with issues with Tannock's car, with issues with Oliver's car. So they're not just there yet, but they're close. They've definitely closed that gap since Monty.
That's for sure. And Adam, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I guess Tannock's just bound to be gutted, isn't he? At least it wasn't, in a way, at least it wasn't the fault of the Hyundai itself. It was the hybrid pack. So yeah, you just hope he catches a break, because definitely he had the pace there, and that's the type of rally he would have been looking for a result on. But yeah, if they have speed on those fast events, and there'll be a few more of those through the year, yeah, hopefully it's a sign of things to come, that it's going to be a three-way battle and not just two.
Yeah, and like M Sport, after the highs of Monty, probably not all they hope for in Sweden. But Adam, what would your thoughts be there on the M Sport side of things?
Yeah, I think Craig and Paul are going to be gutted. Like it just ended so fast on stage two. They had a moment with the snowbank, and then the windscreen washer was stuck on and was freezing on the screen then, and just seemed to distract Craig, and he went off for good then on the second stage. So I think at that stage it's nearly as if they didn't get the experience of that first day, or they didn't really get a foot in to see how they could even get on. So definitely that's going to be an event they'll want to forget. But coming to Croatia, back onto tar again, you never know what they can do there. But I have to say, Greensmith and Formo was impressed with how they approached everything, just very steady. Yes, they weren't on rally winning pace, but they weren't expected to be on. That wasn't their job. So they kept it clean, got to the finish, got whatever points they could.
And a good manufacturer point for the team, really, wasn't it?
Just I think for Greensmith to do that, especially, it shows some signs of his maturity coming on as well. And they ended up 5th overall, which isn't bad going, considering. So no, it's up and down for M Sport, I think, overall.
For sure. And Connor?
Yeah, solid drive by Greensmith. I mean, he hit his target. Like that's where, the team have pitched him for this year. That's where he needs to be getting, is in around 5th, 6th place. And, he got that good, solid, steady, mature drive. He had a few issues with gearbox, a couple of overshoots, but this was the least experienced surface, the rally he wasn't expected to do well on. So I thought he brought home a good points haul for the team. For Mo, again, just trying to get himself to the end of the rally after what happened to Monty, and again mechanical issues there for the car. And then unfortunately for Breen and Nagel, it was over before it began. The only interesting story with regard to Breen and Nagel was when they got going again on the Saturday, and then they were forced to retire in stage 14. There was an electrical issue around the kill switch, and Breen was using FaceTime to talk to the engineers to what do you call it?
Diagnose the problem.
Exactly, and created an electrical bypass and got the car going again, at least to get it back into service so they could run the next day.
Isn't it? Yeah. And then Adam, you got a chance to catch up with Jon Armstrong.
Yeah, and he was the man of the weekend for many. He was beating Scandinavians on their own surface. So yeah, it was great to talk to Jon, and I think even he was surprised by how the rally ended for him.
Yeah, it's pretty surreal, to be honest. I definitely wasn't expecting to get the win. And probably not many other people were thinking that I was going to be able to do that either. But yeah, it seems that everything clicked pretty quickly whenever we got there, and I felt quite good and confident on Wrc, and basically the whole week I didn't really have too many expectations and was just very relaxed. And I think that feeling sort of was what probably meant that I was able to achieve what I did. Me and Brian were very relaxed, and we were just doing our thing. And obviously the pace was quite good from the get-go, and then it was just a matter of trying to build upon that and see where it would bring us in the end up.
Yeah, and we all know you had a crazy battle with Laurie, all weekend. There's less than 10 seconds between you, I think. The whole way through the rally on Sunday, there was half a second between you after a couple of stages. On Sunday, what was going through your head? Obviously, he's a Finnish driver. He had been doing a lot of preparation before the rally. What was in your head, knowing what you had to do to try and fend him off?
Yeah, I think he obviously has a lot of experience on that surface, and also with the Rally 3 car, but I think, I also had some experience with the Rally 3 car last year, just not on snow. So I to be honest, the whole weekend, I sort of knew I had enough pace to keep with him. On Friday, we were pretty much nip and tuck the whole day, and I felt like I could still improve. So I knew I could do it, but there's one thing knowing you can beat someone, and it's another thing actually being able to achieve it, especially when it is so tight and you're fighting for seconds. And yeah, the whole rally, it was, I think all of our stage times were within 10 seconds of each other, and it seemed like some stages I would take time, and then in other stages he was able to take some time too. But like I felt I could beat him, and going into Sunday, I knew it was achievable. I knew what I needed to do, which is just keep going as fast as possible, basically, but without taking any huge risks. But yeah, on Sunday morning, obviously he had a very good time on the first stage, which was a very high speed stage, based in 5th gear, most of it, and it's all long, flat out corners that probably shouldn't be flat out. And it was a big battle for sure, but he obviously got the jump on me, and I was a bit too cautious. And then it was just a matter of trying to see if I could do anything on the next stages to bring it back.
Yeah, I think the biggest sign for the two is there was you had Sammy Parry and Robert Vervez who were super rallying and going out trying to get stage win points, and used to in a fight at the front were beating those guys on Sunday. Like, I guess looking back, how perfect were some of those runs, or how gutsy were some of those runs on Sunday?
Yeah, I think they were quite gutsy or ballsy. Yeah, I think I was just too careful on that first stage on Sunday morning, and then the second one in the loop, I had a good idea of what the stage was like from memory, and yeah, I knew that if I wanted to win, then I was going to have to push in that one to try and take some time back. It was pretty flat out, but I made a couple of small mistakes. But I think, yeah, the whole stage was pretty good, and we took a second back from him, which put us half a second in the lead.
Yeah.
But then obviously the big thing was then trying to not lose any time on the stage that we lost like 4 or 5 seconds on the first pass in the morning. So we put in a big effort to try and get a look over the video before going into that stage on the repeat loop, and to try and figure out where we were losing time. And then, yeah, it was just a matter of going into that and trying to go as fast as possible. And yeah, thankfully we took like 2.5 seconds, which was quite a substantial amount considering how close we were. And I knew once I had 3 seconds going into the last stage that I could do it, but obviously I would still need to go pretty much flat out again on that stage, and so high speed and everything that of course you're taking risks, but you've got the snowbacks to try and lean against if you need to. But it all depends how solid the snowbank is and everything. So you try not to touch them, but a couple of times I would come into a corner too hot and you'd run out towards the snowbank, and as long as you don't clatter it too hard, then it's usually fine. But yeah, the final stage was quite messy, I would say. I was obviously knew I needed to push, but my tires, I think, were probably starting to hurt a little bit. Because once even if you don't lose all the studs, the block that the stud is in starts to move around a little bit, and the stud moves around in the block. So you start to get a bit more movement in the car, and yeah, it was quite loose at various points in that stage. So I knew if he had done a really perfect run, then it was going to be very close. But thankfully, I pushed hard enough in that stage to only lose 0.3, even though I had like maybe 3 or 4 corners where I knew I lost time for sure because I went too hard and ran wide and didn't carry enough speed then. So yeah, it wasn't a perfect last stage, but it was good enough for what we needed, and yeah, it was good fun too. So yeah, it was pretty crazy to be able to pull off a win against a Scandinavian driver on snow and in such a big battle too. But honestly, I felt quite comfortable in what I was doing, and Brian was very chilled out too. So just seemed like normal business, but it shouldn't be. And I think what the funny thing is that I watched my onboard before I went into the final stage. I was like, it was starting to freak me out because I was like, how am I driving that fast?
Yeah.
I was almost starting to mess with my head because it just looked so quick, and like it looked like the amount of grip and the lines and everything, the speed that you're carrying is like you're super confident. So it almost stumbled me a bit. As like, how am I going to do that in the second pass? But thankfully I was able to do it again.
Yeah, no, I think those in cars and snow especially, it seems quite deceptive. Yeah, you do wonder how you're going into those corners and making it round. It's crazy, but I guess when you're in the groove and in the moment, you're fine. Yeah, I suppose you've came out, you've won a straight fight with a Scandinavian on Sweden, and obviously you you had your Rally Sweden 2 years ago, which ended, I guess, in pretty much the opposite way that this one did. Everything that's happened in between, is this just, I know you've said perfect redemption, is this just a sign of how far you've come in the past 2 years?
Yeah, I think so. You know, the rally that I had in Sweden in 2020 was just, there was so many different elements to why it didn't work out that it was actually quite easy to rectify them in the end up, because there was so many different reasons. So yeah, but obviously it still is in the back of your head when you go there, and you know that the last time that you were there you had a big accident and you're trying to avoid that. But to be honest, the whole weekend I felt quite comfortable, and my pace notes were very consistent, and I could just drive to them without having any real big moments. I think there might have been one or two notes that were too quick, and one of those was the one where I went up the bank and come into that corner a bit too fast and just ran wide, and the rear of the car hit the bank and went up it dragged the front in and sort of rid up the bank and then came back down again. But I was quite lucky to get away with that one. We didn't get stuck, to be honest. But yeah, I just felt quite comfortable and confident, and I think I've got quite a bit of experience now at this level in rallying, and I know how to deal with certain situations, and just feel more comfortable in what I'm doing. And also Brian was very chilled out, and I think that with us both coming from Fermanagh, we're both very laid back in terms of personalities, and nothing really phases us too much. So I think it worked very well at the weekend, and there was never any big drama or anything, and we just got on with the task, and we thought through everything and talked everything through at every point, and it seemed to just work quite nicely. But I think for sure I had a really nice sensation of, this is like the ultimate just redemption to come back. And obviously I didn't want my rally career to end in Sweden 2020, but now I've managed to come back and compete at a really high level, and then to win the rally that I had a big accident on, and probably myself and other people would have thought I wouldn't have been able to win. It's pretty cool. So it's a very nice feeling. I think I just feel really just satisfied in general. Just feel like just really happy with what we've done.
Yeah, no, you're right to be. And I think as you mentioned there, like your start with Brian, I'm sure that's a huge relief just for both of you, knowing that you can operate at that level together and get on as well, which I'm sure makes a big difference when you're spending 7 days together across an event like that.
Yeah, definitely. I think we got on really well together, and it's just nice whenever you've got a similar mindset and just want to get on and do your best with the week and try to get the best result possible. But Brian was really good, and his attitude is right and everything, and it was quite easy to work with him, and enjoyable too, to have a bit of crack in between times when you're able to. And I think both coming from Fermanagh, we're used to maybe not chatting too much, so it's nice in long road sections, just chill out and do your own thing too. You don't have to always be having a conversation or anything like that. So it's it's nice. It felt very, very good in terms of the partnership, and it started off in the perfect way. So I think Brian really enjoyed the week and learned a lot of things along the way too. So I think should be interesting going forward. But it's just it's really cool being in the junior WRC, especially with William and Liam competing as well. We have a sort of a great little friendship group, let's say. Just having a bit of crack, and also obviously trying to do the best we can and helping each other and giving each other advice at certain points. So it makes it just that little bit easier, that it is sort of a bit more familiar and a bit more like home, just having few Irish boys there, and just to have a bit of crack in between times too.
Yeah, there's plenty of views over there now. I guess just to end as well, like I'm sure it was the icing on the cake to have William and Leo there with you on the podium as well.
Yeah, I was actually, it was funny because I actually forgot about them at the end of the last stage, because I had to sit there and wait to get our result, and that took a long time for Una to come through, and then once that came through, said well done, big battle to him, but forgot about Will and Liam. So I was halfway back to the HQ before I remembered. But no, it was good to then share the podium with them, and yeah, it was something really nice just to be there whenever they've had their first podium in Junior WRC, and for us to be on the top step with them was a special feeling. And you know, there were so many Irish fans and people from the Irish rally community there, and everyone was so happy with the result that we achieved, and it felt so special, to be honest, just that we're living in this moment where we do have so many drivers from Ireland competing in the WRC and achieving really good results. So no, it's a really good time to be in the championship. And I think the big thing for me last week was just having an attitude of enjoying it, and you know, we're privileged to be able to do this, and you have to enjoy every moment.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's brilliant. That's definitely class. And yeah, even going off Monte Carlo and Craig with his result, and you guys now in a double podium effectively, it's so good. But look, it's just so great to see you and Brian get this win after how last year ended, I guess. And I know it's been a challenging winter trying to get things sorted and not knowing what's ahead of you. So no, it's brilliant, and hopefully that's the start of a good positive year for you both.
Yeah, I hope so. And like you said, it was tough to get there this year, but just want to say a big thank you to everyone who has supported me. There is so many people that I can't actually name all of them. There's lots of silent people helping out too. And yeah, obviously all the sponsors that are on the car and all the people in the background, you know, without their help, we wouldn't be there. So big thank you for everyone that's made it happen.
That was great to hear John's viewpoint, and amazing JWRC win in Sweden. And again, particularly, you know, he had no pre-event testing to go there and do what he did. It was just phenomenal. Also, speaking of phenomenal, I caught up with Aaron Johnston, who finished 4th overall with Takamoto in the Toyota Yaris.
Yeah, it was a nice event. Our strongest performance so far together, and achieving the best results. So yeah, we had a really positive weekend, and it was an event that we were earmarking at the beginning of the year to try and perform on, and thankfully we achieved that.
And you had a bit of early drama, stage 4, I think it was. You got stuck in a snowbank. What happened?
Yeah, this is part of winter rallying, I guess. It was the first stage of the rally repeated in the second loop as stage 4, and there was a historic event running in between the first loop and second loop. So the road was quite dirty, and the line was not so clear, and we were unfortunately outside the rut, and on the loose snow we just understeered into the bank on the outside and needed a little bit of help from the spectators to get out. But yeah, 25-30 seconds dropped, and we got out, and no problems after this. So just minimal time loss.
A few of the Rally 1 crews were having difficulties on Friday with tyre wear. How did you and Taka fare with trying to preserve the studded tyres?
It was quite a strange one for tyre wear this year, to be honest, Connor. The conditions on the recce were looking pretty good. Normal winter conditions with ice and snow, and a loose top layer that would have been swept off. But just before the rally began on Thursday on shakedown, we had a lot of wet slush and really rain, to be honest. And this created a layer of moisture on the top that then froze overnight, and it left the conditions on Friday morning, to be honest, quite quite okay for first or second on the road. Then once this layer of thin ice had broken, we were down to clean the snow from the main base of the road. And I think, to be honest, where we were fifth was maybe the worst position we could have been, because it was quite clean for the first few cars and obviously clean for the cars running 9, 10, 11. But this place that we were, fourth, fifth, sixth, I think was the one that really suffered.
I know if I'm at home watching the Swedish Rally on the laptop or on TV, I still can't get over the speeds the cars are doing over the snow and the ice. You've quite a few snow rallies under your belt now at this point, but are you still taken aback by the speeds, or are you well used to it now?
The speeds on snow is quite incredible, and for me, yes, I have done quite a few rallies now in these conditions, maybe 7, 8, 9, something like this, but I still feel it is very new for me, and it is a surface that I really do enjoy and take a lot of pleasure in co-driving on. And it is quite incredible that the speeds we can carry when you get out at the end of the stage to do the tire pressures and you can barely stand up. So yeah, it's a nice way to go rallying.
And is there much of a difference with the new Rally 1 cars on snow compared to how the WRC cars behave? Like, is the weight difference noticeable, or is the lack of differentials making a big difference?
Yeah, maybe from a driving perspective, yes, but from my side of the car, it still feels very good. Okay, in the stages in Sweden at the weekend, we really were missing sixth gear because they were so fast in places, and it would have been nice to have that little bit of a longer ratio to really, maximize the speed that you can carry on these ultra fast sections. But again, you have the extra boost coming out of the junctions and things with the hybrid unit. So you have to weigh up the advantages and disadvantages. But overall, the cars, I think, would be quite close to where they were, in the previous generation. And I think as the years go on and the crews and the teams learn more about how the system properly works and get their head around the new regulations, the cars will be even faster than the older spec cars.
And Aaron, as a co-driver, is there any difference in how you prepare for a snow rally compared to the other rounds of the WRC?
I think snow rallying is, let's say, one of the safer type events to go rallying on, because you have got the extra insurance policy of the banks. If you carry a little bit too much speed, you can use them to push you back up onto the road. But as we've seen in stage 4, sometimes they can bite back quite hard as well. But as regards to preparation, I think gravel, snow, tarmac, we put the same amount of work into every surface. And if you think about when you're on the stages, maybe, if you're changing tires between, stages, that you just have to be careful that you don't set the hot wheel studs down into the snow, because you could lose them very easy. But yeah, apart from this, I think the preparation for every event is very similar.
Okay. And what do you got with the transition from the WRC car to the new hybrids? Has there been much of a learning curve for yourself and TACA? Like, what's been the biggest challenge or adjustments you've had to make?
Yeah, there is an awful lot more that goes with these new hybrid cars in terms of, what to do and the procedures during stages, after stages, and in the service parks and EV zones. So there is an awful lot more than there was, last year and previous years. So you just have to know where these sections take place and how to manage the charge that you have in the car and how to regenerate before the next EV zone. So something, again, that you discuss with your engineers before the rally and make a plan. But yeah, for sure, for all the crews, there is an awful lot more to be on top of than there was before we had the hybrid units.
You took fourth fastest time on the Wolf Power stage. Is there much of a debate between, you as a crew and the team about whether you conserve your place on the leaderboard, or do you, what around taking that risk for additional points on the power stage?
Yeah, for sure. The power stage can be, let's say, quite high risk when you consider, the overall position that we were in at the weekend in fourth. But the power stage is a great addition to the championship, I think, and it is very valuable for guys that maybe haven't had the best weekend or some technical issues or punctures or things to salvage some good points towards the championship. So for us, the plan was to have a little bit of a push on the power stage like we did, but not go absolutely crazy to risk our overall position. But to gain 2 extra points over 14 Ks, it's nice to do, and it definitely helps the championship leaderboard.
Grand. And speaking of which, you and Taka are 6th overall in the championship standings at the moment. What are the objectives for the rest of the championships? Do you have a target, or what can you reveal?
Yeah, as competitors, I've said it many times before, we want to do the best job that we can for ourselves and also the team. And we have a very important job this year in supporting Toyota in regaining the World Manufacturers title. So this is the goal. And as our own aspirations and goals, I think, we finished 4th now in Sweden and had a really good, strong run, and are getting more and more familiar and more comfortable in the car, and everything is working towards, gaining time and being more competitive at the front. So I think the next logical step for us is to be aiming to go 1 step higher and achieve podium.
And then obviously you were very busy in Sweden over the weekend, but I'm sure you were keeping an eye on your local event, the Fivemiletown Rally.
Yeah. For me, Fivemiletown is my, let's say, local event. This year it started in the Ecclesville Centre in Fitness, so this is only like 2 miles from home for me. And maybe it's not the best thing to say, but I was a little disappointed that I was in Sweden and I missed my local event. But I was following between stages in Sweden to see how it's going at home, and especially with Robert McKelvey and Marty McKenna, my 2 sponsors, competing in the event. I was keeping a close eye on how they were getting on.
Oh, it's nice to hear from Aaron again, and brilliant that he's a positive weekend under his belt with Takamoto 4th overall. It's definitely a big result in WRC. And he had his eyes on 5Miletown. It's hard to get away from the gravel bug, isn't it? Kevin, you were at the event as well. What was it like from the side of the stage?
So good to be back. And around the service park on the side, in the forest. There's nothing beats the sound of a rally car bouncing through the trees. The top, 10 cars, the speed, unbelievable. Desi Henry on the very first stage, everybody whoa, like that. When he appeared blasting down through where we were standing. You forget just the buzz that it gets you. And the crowds, 5Miletown, like a small club rally basically, and like everywhere you want, there was good crowds about. Fantastic to see, Martinez Samsonas over in the BMW, I think internet sensation is the only way to describe that. The noise, the speed, the commitment. I don't know, I can't do it justice. Just sensational. A great day out. Fair play to everybody involved in Noma Motor Club. At the end of the event, I caught with the winners, so I'll let you hear what their thoughts were.
Yeah, it's a rally we've never won before now. We won the Bushwhacker that's run this same club before it, so it was a great rally. But no, this is a completely different nature of a rally, very technical, tight, but great stages. So no, we didn't get it easy with Cathan. He was pushing us on all day there, so no, delighted to win it.
Very good. And what's the plans now for the rest of the year?
Your guess is as good as mine. I was talking to Paddy on the way on the road there, and we don't know ourselves what we're going to do.
Just event by event?
Yeah, well, I suppose we're still an interest in Irish forestry. At the same time, our original plan was to go to the tarmac, go to the Circuit of Ireland. So I don't know what way we'll go, but I don't know what wheels is going to be on her for the next event. But no, look, we're happy with the car and on gravel, so look, we'll see what happens.
Very good. And your third event in this car and third one, so she's been good to you so far?
Yeah, well, obviously she's been quite a bit of luck. Obviously, last weekend's event was quite a hollow victory now, so I didn't need much, but no, it's great to get back out again, I suppose, and on a more positive note.
Look, here we're happy enough. I suppose we went to Killarney last weekend for a test, and look, everything kind of went wrong down there, and look, here we come here today not knowing the car, so we took the first probably loop of stages to see what the car was made of and how. Then we showed a bit of speed in the first couple out after service, but we're never going to catch Desi. It was just a wee bit too far in front. So, here, enjoyed it. Good, really good event. The car was really, really good, and everything was good about it. So, no, here we're very, very happy to get second.
And have you any plans now for the rest of the year? What's your thoughts on it now?
Look, here, I don't know. We're thinking about going to Wrc Car. We'll see how the next week or two progresses. That's the plan, and we're going to maybe head down there and see. And I would like to get the Carrick Insure as well for the Forest Champ. So here, look, we'll see how it progresses in the next lot of weeks and see how it goes.
Good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, this is the first time taking a four-wheel drive car to the event, so didn't know what to expect. Have managed a good two-wheel drive battle with the boys over the years. So I am happy to. I took it this morning, put it that way, Kevin. You know, cars. It's quite aggressive in that to drive, you know. But when you get it out onto the stages and sort of get a feel for it, Derek has it set up well now. Real good on the bumps and braking and things like that. So good run.
You like another go winner?
What? Any day.
You won't say no.
Going rallying's a good day, so it is. So no, good.
Happy out with it then?
Happy out. Good result that I took it this morning.
Any plans now for the rest of the year, or just event by event?
I just say I'll take it one. I probably won't do an awful lot. In fact, I hadn't planned on doing today. Only it's just up the road, you know. So I finished up doing a last minute deal with Derek to hire the car. So maybe a couple of gravel events over the summer, and I might do a bit of tarmac too, you know, in the Mark II, putting the Mark II together. So
very good.
Get that out for a run.
So that was me catching up with the event winners, Desi Henry in the Fiesta Rally 2. Also Cathan McCourt and his Fiesta, I suppose, RS Turbo, might be a nice way of describing it as any. And Vivian Hamill in the World Rally Car Mini, you know. Just the enthusiasm from them guys, and the banter between them is a joy to behold. And chatting about banter, nobody beats the two-wheel drive boys for banter. I also caught up with the winner of that one, was David Crossan, and also Adrian Hetherington. I'll let you hear their thoughts here now.
It is. We weren't expecting it there. Samsonas guy in the BM was flying. We weren't getting anywhere near him. So we're in a big race with Shane there, so we're three down, got out after there, and then Shane rode in stage 6. So I was disappointed to see that. I was really enjoying the race with Shane. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyed the rally. I haven't been here since 14. But playing rally, I'll definitely be back.
Enjoyable stages?
Aye, they were now. That checking stage were over 3 times. Very surprised with how it held up. 3 stages. It was fantastic race.
Excellent.
Well, a good run on it for the third run as well there. At that stage we didn't know Shane had rolled, so the last two we just backed off there.
Right, just driving.
Yeah, but no, very good.
Good stuff. Any plans now for the rest of the year? Or?
Yeah, we're going to do the BD RDA Championships we are, so we're going to Malcolm Wilson in 2 weeks' time, so we are.
Excellent.
And then rally months in April, so just see what we do.
Happy, I didn't think now after the first couple of stages it would be. The car's lying in the shed there, there's 3 years, and it's a wee bit hard to drive, you know, for the first couple of stages. We've got a bit of adjustment on there, you know.
Yes, that's the first time out now in the big car now.
That's the first time in 3 years we've been driving the BDA, so a completely different animal.
Yes. And how do you find it being back in the big car again?
I'd rather the BDA. probably not the same power, like you arrive at the corner not far too fast.
Yes.
The BDA, you arrive at the right speed of them.
We should say congratulations to third place in the RAC Rally. Fantastic result at the end of last year.
Yeah, good result now. We drove for a finish for once.
You drove your head, not your heart.
Yeah, I drove with used the old head.
And any plans now for the rest of the year yourself?
We're doing the Historic Championship in England now, and then we're going to try and do as many rounds of the Southern Forestry Championship with this car.
Brilliant, yes.
Hopefully we can get the money.
So there's your your top two in two-wheel drive on 5Miletown. I think another guy we need to mention is Shane Mcgire. He was challenging as well. Rolled to start it, but was still able to finish. Where else would you get it?
I know.
But this Sunday is the start of the National Rally Championship, so we're back onto tour, heading to Mayo Stages Rally, and those guys have got an interesting event coming up. 2 stages run 4 times, but the last pass the stages are altered slightly, so yeah, it's given the competitors an extra few kilometers. I think they've around 100k in total, so definitely getting a bit more value for money. So yeah, I think that's an interesting concept, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that one turns out.
Absolutely, I think it's a fantastic idea. Like, it cuts down, the amount of marshals you need, the services you require. It has such a knock-on effect and everything, and you're still getting your 100 kilometers or whatever, rather than having 3 different locations just to 2. And a fantastic initiative by the Mayo Club. I would say there'll be a few other clubs watching closely how that pans out this weekend.
Yeah, if this 2x3 format's the set way for national rallies now, it's maybe a good way of getting an extra 2 in. And I think as well, another thing, it cuts down recce time as well for the guys, and I think you're chatting to Robert Barrable, Kevin, later on, and I think that's one thing that maybe suits people working flat out, and if they can get their recce in on Saturday, something nice and handy, it definitely takes the pressure off the whole thing.
Yeah, I was just going to add, with that style of format, even from a crowd control point of view, it'd be interesting to see how that helps. You kind of less spectator movement about between stages, so I think that would be beneficial as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and like some very interesting entries in the event as well. Fantastic top 10 and then beyond.
Like if you look at it, you can go through the top 50, and there's drivers you would definitely expect in the top 15. It's mental. It's mental.
It was a very difficult job seeding that entry list.
I would imagine. You'd lose a bit of sleep over it, I would think, before it was all sorted, really. So. Well,
there's one to just spot now. 53 on the entry list, Mickey Conlon and a class 13 escort. Like, that's mental, isn't it? Like,
nearly any other rally, you'd be thinking top 20, top 30 at worst, kind of thing. So, like, we're looking at the top 3 there. Josh, Galway winner, like the performance he put in there. Declan Boyle, has to be another man you're going to tip very strong. Robert Barrable, returning, and the polo, and Melvin Evans polo. That's going to be interesting. Darren Gass, there's, the list goes on and on. Really.
Yeah, don't forget Pater Hurst in there as well. Always, a man you could put your money on.
Yeah.
Eamon Kelly in his dad's polo as well as another guy. He seated fairly well back, just with all the entries, but definitely he's going to be an interesting one to see how far his times creep up over the day.
We'll also catch up with him before the end of the show. He's going there with a very level head, so, but I wouldn't be overly surprised that he puts in some good times as the day progresses, anyway, so it's going to be a fascinating event. It really is, and then 2-wheel drive, again, where do you start,
One very interesting entry in the 2-wheel drive category as well, with Sam Moffat in the Starlet.
He's picked some class to jump into, hasn't he? But Jason Black, Johnny Jordan, John Warren,
local man John Warren there too.
It's going to be a cracking battle just for that alone.
Yeah, you can imagine all them other class 13 guys. We'll show this young fella.
To need anything else, tag them on, like bragging rights.
Yeah, that's for sure. So I suppose we should jump into the first interview then. Was Robert Barrable and see what he has to say.
Well, obviously, we the initial plan was to do the Tarmac Championship, but it's just a little bit out of budget wise. And to be honest, it was a last kind of minute decision to kind of go to do the national championship. But historically, the national championship has always worked for our business. We leave on a Saturday, home on a Sunday. The rally's good. One day rallies seem to suit us. The commitment from work seems to be a lot less away from work, like.
Mm-hmm.
But it was literally, I would say, I put in the entry early because I knew Mayo would get a full entry as kind of the first round of the championship always does. So I put in the entry early. We were originally meant to go on a Fiesta, and then, I put the entry in initially in a Fiesta and then changed it to the Polo with Melvin Evans. I don't know. It's just kind of one of them things. I think the Polo seems to be one of the best cars. Although Josh booked that trend in Galway this year, with the Hyundai winning the first round. So I don't know. I tested a Polo at the end of last year, and I just liked it. It just seemed to suit me. It seemed to suit my driving style. And then obviously Melvin runs a good show. Turned out a good show. And turns out a good car. Like the front two lads in the BRC last year, where I don't think they had any issues throughout the year. They both had nearly 100% finishing record prior, bar driver error.
Yep.
Yeah, but so we just decided to go to Polo. As I said, it was only probably 2 weeks ago, I'd say, when we finalised it. But I'm looking forward to Mayo. I'm looking forward to getting stuck into it and seeing what it brings.
Yeah, and you had the Ricky done there at the weekend, yourself and Paddy Robinson. What's your thoughts on the stages?
Yeah, as you say, I have a well-experienced Donegal man, Damien. My regular co-driver, Damien, is going with Patter Hurson.
Mm-hmm.
Patter was a little bit more organised than me this year. But to be fair, I only do a couple of tarmac rounds. But the couple of tarmac rounds that I wanted to do with working bits and pieces would allow us to do the whole national championship. So me and Paddy done the last rally me and Paddy done was August 2012, which was the Ulster. So we're coming up on 10 years as a sabbatical. So looking forward to it. Recce at the weekend, 2 stages, and there's loops in the middle of them, to be fair to the organisers of Mayo, and I think Killian Duffy's probably in the middle of that as well. The way they've done the loops, the stages, is quite good. 2 very different characteristics of stages that are so close to each other, believe it or not.
Right.
And then within the stages, then you've 2 totally different characteristics again. So you've nice wide main road, and then you've little narrow, typical Mayo, more like a Galway terrain, for want of a better word.
Yes.
Narrow, greasy, but it'll be good. I'm looking forward to it. We did a good recce. It'll really all depend on what the weather does. If the weather stays dry, the stage will be lovely. If the weather stays wet, it'll be very, very similar to what Galway looked like.
Yes. And at the moment, the weather's looking quite favourable, so we can but hope that it stays that way. So.
Yeah, although we had frost this morning, and it's like it's roasting now. We're in just t-shirts and a jacket now, so the typical Irish weather. So here, when we wake up on Sunday morning, pull the curtains back, we'll realise what it's going to be.
Have to deal with it.
yeah, whatever it's going to be, it's going to be. So so I'm looking forward to it. As I said, good recce done. The 2 stages done 4 times, but 2 variations, and within them stages is a new idea, I suppose. So fair play to them for organising that.
And it was like, as I said to Eamon Kelly, I was speaking to previously, he was saying, about the ceremonial start, and bringing the rally into the town and one thing and another. Fantastic initiative by the club there, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Mayo, with the experience, and I think all the organisers in the club, even down to the promotions of the sponsors, have done a very good job.
Yeah.
Ceremonial start in the middle of Claremorris, the sponsors that they've done and the interaction they seem to have done, they definitely seem to set a bar high for themselves. We've a couple of regroups and stuff. So, do you mind? I haven't really looked at the schedule, Kevin. I know there's a ceremonial start in Claremorris, but I think it's good that we do ceremonial starts, because there's a lot of people in the town that mightn't necessarily understand it, and it's good for coverage. It's good for publicity. It's good for whereabouts of the rallying and the knowledge of the people in the town that it's a rally going on, and
it promotes the positive side of it. Promotes the positives as well, doesn't it? So
like it's typical Irish. We're too quick to point out the negatives, but when the positives are in, we really need to promote them. So
and shout about them as well. So
I think so. I think it's good.
And like you're going on now. It's been a couple of years now since you've been out in a competitive car. What's your hopes really ahead of the weekend?
$1 million question, isn't it? The last R5 rally that we did was Killarney 2019. So we're coming up close to 3 years. Although I have been doing a bit of racing last year and bits and pieces like that, but competitiveness, it's going to be hard to beat the regulars that have rallied earlier on in the year. Like you look at Darren Gass, for example, he done Kyrgyzstan stages. Josh has done Galway. Declan had started Galway and bits and pieces like that. To be honest with you, Kevin, I don't really have expectations, but I just want to go get a good bit of mileage under the belt. And the ultimate aim is to finish as best as we can. But am I going down to say that I'm going to win the rally? No. It'd be foolish of me to. You won't rate Josh, to be fair, put on an excellent performance in Galway, so he will be very hard to beat. Just going down to enjoy it. And a bit of seat time, get used to the car. We're only going to have a small test on the Saturday, or on the Friday beforehand. But to be fair, it's I'm not going to approach this rally any different than any other rally. Done my recce the same way I've done it before. I'm going to approach the event the same way I do and just see how it goes and kind of go from there, like, you know.
And then after Mayo, what's your thoughts then the rest of the year, really?
Yeah, well, the plan is to do the whole year. I'm not around for Burr. I have an appointment. We've a family event on the 2nd and 3rd of April. So Burr, I won't be in Burr, but from Monaghan onwards to do the whole championship. Yeah, so they're fairly well spaced out, which is good. And they suit, as I say, they suit our level of work. We can leave on a Saturday morning. I'm only probably 2 hours from any of the rallies. Leaving a Saturday morning, home on a Sunday, back and work on Monday. So that's got a lot of positives for us. And between two and three stages in rallies, the recce will be very good, handy to do.
It's great to see Robert Barrable back on the stages. He's a very quick man, and I'm dying to see how he gets on in the polo. And also, speaking of polos, we caught up with Eamon Kelly, who's competing this weekend's Mayo Rally.
It doesn't feel real, to be honest, Kevin. It's a massive opportunity, and I'm obviously very grateful to get it. But yeah, just originally Dad was meant to do the rally, and he's just flat out, and he pulled his entry. So we decided to go ourselves and give it a lash. And yeah, listen, it's just a fantastic opportunity to learn, and you know, there's no pressure on us. It seems like a great event too. So yeah, it's all learning. We're not going to be looking at results or anything like that, but yeah, just a fantastic opportunity all around.
Yeah, and like you were saying earlier, you hadn't even got a chance even to drive the car really in anger. So that's going to be a very steep learning curve.
Yeah, absolutely. I was given 2 opportunities to test before, but the car just out of pure bad luck, it was mechanical issues both times after one run. So I didn't even get the thing out of road mode. So yeah, it'll be a big learning curve, definitely. Hopefully we'll get a kind of a run out once or twice this week, near the end of this week. But yeah, the rally in itself is a test of anything. So we're just kind of going, take it stage by stage and kind of feather ourselves into it and learn, you know, how the thing handles and, you know, how you have to drive it.
Yeah, and and probably Mayo's probably the ideal setup for that, because it's 2 stages done 4 times, so you can make wee changes, wee tweaks, and to see if it, you know, how the thing's developing throughout the day as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you wouldn't be long, you know, getting to not learn the stages, but you get used to them very, very quickly. So yeah, you'd be more, you know, you're not focusing so much on the stages, but more so the car, and you know, yeah, making changes and adjustments to my driving as well, because obviously it's just going to be so different to the front wheel drive stuff. But yeah, ideal rally, and we racketed the stages on yesterday. So, and from what I've seen, they're good stages. They're nothing too complicated. They're nice and nothing crazy in them, but just good driver stages. So it's a perfect setup.
And you give us a wee flavour of what to expect on the stages. You know, there's a good surface on them, a good flow to them.
Yeah, the general makeup of the event's very good. It's kind of, like I said, a bit of everything. Fast stuff, tight technical stuff, typical Irish muddy farmyards. You have to expect that at this time of the year. But yeah, literally a bit of everything. And obviously it's nice to see the Motor Club trying something new with the kind of 2-stage format where they're changing things up. You know,
for the final loop, aren't they? Yeah,
yeah. So instead of running 3 stages, they're running 2, and they're changing the variation of them for the last run. So you're kind of getting the same mileage as a 3-stage rally, but obviously it's more practical for them to run too. So it's nice to see them changing it up and doing something fresh.
Absolutely, and like they're going for the ceremonial start. They're going big on it. They're involving the local community. Great to see all these kind of initiatives now. Never Rallying's getting back and being portrayed in a very positive way.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we have these great events and great spectacles, so it's only right to bring it to the public. And fair play to them. They're doing the absolute right thing, and I think it's other clubs should follow suit too. It's great to bring a spectacle to the public and create a positive association.
And then, looking forward beyond then Mayo at the weekend, what's your plans or your thoughts going forward then for the rest of the year?
Yeah, obviously our thoughts were, they're still primarily front-wheel drive Rally 4. We're going to the Junior BRC again this year, and that's our main focus. Obviously, we came close last year, so it's kind of added motivation to try and clinch it this year. So yeah, that's the plan. Mayo was something that we didn't really plan, to be honest. It just came unexpected, and obviously you're never going to turn down that opportunity. But my plans are still primarily front-wheel drive, and we'll be going to West Cork in the Fiesta, and I'm sure seems to be a good gang of guys purchasing Rally 4s now, so no doubt there'll be a really, really good race. And it's been brilliant seat time for us for the BRC, with the first 2 rounds being tarmac. So yeah, that's our main focus.
And we have to mention that you had a fantastic year last year. I would say at the start of the year, if somebody would have said you had to finish second, you'd have grabbed it with both hands.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't have believed them. So I didn't really know where I'd stand. So we were just kind of focusing on our own development as a driver, and we never really expected to be in the mix, especially never doing any of the events before and never having raced on gravel. But yeah, it went well for us. And to be fair, as a team, we put in a big effort, and I think the results was a good reflection of that. So, but yeah, hopefully we can continue that this year and take it one step further.
I suppose we have to give a special mention to Connor, your right-hand man. He helps bring it all together too.
Absolutely, yeah. Connor's super organised. He's super enthusiastic, and yeah, he wants to win as much as I do. So you need that sort of that commitment in the car, and yeah, extra competitive, and that's what it's all about. So, and the two of us, again, same mindset this year. We both really, really want to win, and that's what we're there for. So yeah, it's a good partnership.
So always good to catch up with him. Such a level-headed approach. Wise beyond his years. Right, we're at that part of the show. Once again, we do our predictions. So I suppose it's only fair we look back at last week first of all. Maybe not our finest there, Connor. In fairness, now you predicted the overall winner in Sweden, Rovenpera. After that, went a wee bit pear-shaped with Brain and Evans. Adam, Evans, Lappy, and Brain.
Nope.
Me, I predicted Lappy, Canuck, and Neville. So I got 2 in the podium, but just not in the right order. 5Miletown. Connor, you want Desi Henry, Cathan McCourt. So fair play, you got first and second. Didn't do so good in the 2-wheel drive. Adam, in the 4-wheel drive, you were looking for Jason Mitchell. That didn't go so good there. And David Crossan in the 2-wheel drive, so we'll have to give you full marks there. And me, I got Desi Henry and Crossan for top marks for me.
Well done.
Well done, me. So looking forward to Mayo this weekend. Well, suppose we'll look for overall and 2-wheel drive winners. So we will go with Adam.
I think it's obvious now, Kevin, that you tell us the names we have to pick, and then you get to pick the ones that win. So no, on that note, since I've got first pick, I shall pick Josh Moffat for the overall win in Mayo. I think that's fairly safe, maybe. Although Declan Boyle, I think if that Wrc Car doesn't give any chip this weekend, he's definitely going to be on the pace too. All those guys are going to be quick, but Josh, after how he did in Galway, I think it'd be foolish not to go for him.
2-wheel drive?
Oh, 2-wheel drive, right. So you've got Gary Kiernan, Gary McPhillips, Jason Black, the O'Callaghan's there as well. See, Chris O'Callaghan is in class 14, so I think he was class 13 last year, and he was going very well. Always trying to beat his dad, so I'm going to go for Chris for maybe a surprise 2-wheel drive win in Mayo.
Excellent. And Connor, your thoughts?
Oh, head versus heart. Do you know what? It's just, I would be all money on Robert Barrable, only that he's got lacking seat time. But you know what? He could pull it out of the bag. And then Pater Herson's another one. It's not WRC Fiesta. But I'm going to go for Robert Barrable. I'm going to be bold. And then for two-wheel drive, I'm going to go for Gary Kiernan. Play a safer bet, I think, there.
Very good, very good. Right, overall, again, I'm sort of torn. Do we go for Boyle or do we go for Josh? Josh was phenomenal in Galway. He looked so relaxed. So Josh, I think. Two-wheel drive, fantastic to see Gary McPhillips back in the stages as well, The only thing that would be stop me from tipping Gary is probably he hasn't been out in a while. So torn between Kiernan and Jason Black, the performance Jason put in Galway too as well, the weather conditions are looking dry at the moment, which may not favour Jason, so might go Kiernan. Yeah, Kiernan for the two-wheel drive, but I would say Jason Black will not be far away. So that's the end of this episode. So if you could please like, share, and if there's anything you want to comment, or you want to respond or tell us where we're going wrong, please breathe free. So until the next time, take care, speak soon, and bye.
Yeah.